Acknowledge me!
You just made the list!
I am the B-E-S-T.
I'm better than you, and you know it. Damn.
Welcome to Down Under the Mat podcast, here around the pool table of relevancy in Madison Square Garage. To my left, Mr. Daniel Danielson. To my right, Reece. I am Booker Ted, and we're here to talk about all things wrestling. First of all, we're going to apologise. Obviously, we're a bit late this week in getting this episode out. We can thank Mr. Daniel Danielson for having a son and Father's Day.
Being an adult and having travel plans.
And children, unfortunately.
Yeah. Wow.
Unfortunately. I didn't mean that in that way. Sorry. Kids, don't ever watch
He
this
loves
episode.
you, Lockie. We all love you.
Lockie's never going to watch this, is
He probably will.
No, he definitely won't.
he? Nah.
No.
He's not allowed to?
He's not allowed to what
Is he, not allowed, is he banned from watching it?
No, he can watch it, but he won't. Because it's not a
Because
YouTube
you're
short.
on here and you're not cool. Because Dad's not cool.
No, because it's not a YouTube short or on TikTok.
Oh, I
I
see.
can't make those yet.
So once we get onto TikTok, he'll be straight on.
Yeah. Once we can sort of master his 20-second attention span.
20 seconds. Wow, I think it's shorter than that. All right, so we've got a lot to talk about, considering we're a little bit late this week. I want to get it out of the way, because it's the thing that everyone's talking about.
Is there a reason I'm wearing this t-shirt again, Ted?
There is a reason you're wearing
There
that
is a
t-shirt. I don't know if we're going to have to recap the whole thing. I'm sure everybody is fully
Everyone knows
aware
already.
of
Everyone
what
knows.
happened.
No, for those living on a rock, what happened?
So, Mr. Chicago-made Punk had a backstage altercation with Mr. Jungle Jack Perry at All In at Wembley. And
Cry me a river.
It was real glass.
real class. And both were suspended pending investigation. And then right before Collision was to start
In Chicago.
On CM Punk's show, because Collision was his show, it was announced that CM Punk was let go from AEW.
Bitch got future endeavoured.
Yeah. So I just, first of all, I want to touch on a couple of things. And the first thing I want to touch on, because I know that you obviously, Reece, feel that
We're on
Thank
two
God.
very different sides of the
thank
fence
God he's
now.
gone. He thinks he deserves it. Yeah, we're on that page. You're on that bandwagon. Yeah. Okay. Because I just want to paint a bit of a picture for you. Because obviously one of the things I think is very telling from this whole situation is, what do you see coming from CM Punk's side of all these stories?
What do you mean? Like,
Well,
Nothing,
everything that you
that's
see
not-
in the media is from people that are friends with the elite.
mm-hmm.
So we're only ever getting one side of the story, and they only ever seem to be the people that want to report on what really happened. So I also see that as something that actually shows me that I think CM Punk is probably not necessarily all in the wrong here, because he's not coming out and trying to badmouth people about all this stuff that's happened backstage, whereas the other side seem to be doing that quite a lot. I don't know. Do you get that gist, or am I on my own island of relevancy here?
Even though I'm on the side of CM Punk deserved it sort of thing, I do notice that with the reports. It's always from the side of the fence that's not in leagues with CM Punk.
But it's also a lot of the articles that you see from Fightful Select and Dave Meltzer and stuff. It's because they're getting info from the Young
the elite.
Bucks.
Yeah, exactly.
Or friends of the Young Bucks.
Yeah, so
Which
they're
Jack
getting
Perry
that-
is one of.
They're getting that news, so that's what they're reporting on, and that's what's going through the cycles.
Yeah.
I think we're like a week and a half now detached from when it occurred, maybe 2 weeks out. I think everyone now understands a pretty clear situation of what occurred.
Yeah.
And I think the main reason why this is a different, suspension and that why it got released compared to the Brawl Out issue from last year was
Brawl Out.
the Brawl Out one was in a locker room, right?
Yeah.
The elite. It was speculation. It was he said, she said. We don't know what actually happened.
Whereas this had footage.
This was in guerrilla position in Wembley Stadium with CCTV
Yeah.
cameras everywhere.
No, and I get that, and I don't think I'm going to argue that point, because obviously, until you see the footage, you got to go with what's been said. There was
Yeah,
enough
of course.
witnesses there, etc. But I guess some of the things that have come out since then, and I guess I want to paint a bit of a picture, because if this was to happen in your workplace, I feel like you'd probably want to front choke lock someone, whatever you call it. So, first of all, it's come out since that CM Punk actually wanted to reconcile and was the first one to reach out and say, I want to fix things up.
This is with
I want
the
to
elite.
organise a meeting. And the Young Bucks flat out said no.
That's
Don't
been
want to do
disputed,
it,
but
right?
again, disputed by media sources that
Yeah,
we
that
know
were
across-
with the Young Bucks. So, first of all, that didn't happen. And I just want to put it out to you. I know everyone's laughed about it, but you imagine your business flies you overseas. You get to an airport
Yeah.
and no one's there to pick you up. The number you've been given doesn't work.
You catch your trains
That's
in the
pretty
venue.
bad.
Yeah,
like, if my work did that to me, I would be ropeable.
I'd also be really annoyed because, you know, my boss is a billionaire.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also has come out since that the guy who organises all the travel for the wrestlers is good mates with the Young Bucks.
Oh, of course.
So, again, paint a picture. Again, it doesn't, like, you still can't justify violence. I'm not trying to say that punching someone and choking them is the right way to go about things. I'm more just trying to get to the point of, I think I more look at it as to, well, how did we let this person get to that point where that happened? You know, there's also got to be some accountability of,
Yeah.
you know, how you let someone get to that point.
And I think we've said this across all the podcasts we've had so far, and Reece, you love calling it a mud show, and I'm not going to disagree with you. But one of the things that we've said since day one when we've been talking about AEW is that somebody needs to run HR.
Yes.
And Tony Khan is not someone who is in a position where he can manage the wrestlers in that sense. I don't
Not at all.
think he is a fan. He loves pro wrestling, and for him to be the CEO, the biggest fan of the company, the head of
The
creative,
booker, yeah. It's,
do all that stuff, it's too much.
Yeah.
And we know with WWE, with the size of what that business and that company is now, they've learned that when Vince was in control of everything, it was very volatile.
Yes.
And you have to give different people different things. And I think Tony Khan is still trying to control too much.
Yeah.
The same that we can talk about when you said when he came out before All Out in Chicago.
Yep.
And he released his video statement, which was required from Tony's perspective. But then to say it in front of a crowd, and we just watched a video of someone who was there in the crowd watching it, said that they all thought Tony was going to start crying. And I know how much Tony, obviously as a boss, cares about his staff and employees.
Yeah.
But I also think as a fan how much he loved CM Punk.
Yeah.
And that kind of tinged him a little bit too far to like why he reacted this way and why he was so overly emotional about it.
Yeah.
I don't think...
I don't know if it was actually his decision. That's part of it.
I don't think
he was forced to. I think he was
Absolutely.
forced to by other people within the company.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mean like the
That came out in
EVPs?
one of the articles.
Yeah, okay.
But it was-
Well, I mean, that
well,
makes sense because he's a big fan.
He kind of got back into a corner about making that decision.
Yeah.
Roses are red, forests are full of trees. This is why you don't make Young
Wrestlers,
Bucks
EVPs. Brought it up before. It just causes issue because then you've got these other wrestlers like Jack Perry who, you know, and I'm going to use the term, suck up to them because these guys are bosses. They have sway in the business. So they're going to do these little things and nitpick because they're like, well, I'm getting in with my bosses. I'm making them happy. It's going to be good for me in the long run. So again, I think that's probably the biggest issue again is the EVPs. They either be EVPs or wrestlers. You can't be both.
No, it's not been working out.
No, and I think you could even see that. I mean, I haven't watched the Peacock special for Cody Rhodes and stuff yet, but you could see that now that he's in WWE and how there's a weight off his shoulders in terms of running everything.
He does say that a lot, does he?
He said it plenty of times, and he can focus on himself and he can control what he can control in terms of his character and stuff. And you can see how much more freedom and how much that allows him to really interact with himself in the ring and then just be his character.
Yeah.
Not stressing about what does this guy want to push forward. Have we booked enough hotel rooms for this show when we're traveling? Like, it's not his problem anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that allows that freedom. And I think the way that AEW is run, and the same with Tony, like I said, it's too many hats all at the same time and it's just too hard.
Well, I think you're on a point there too because, and I think it's probably more that isn't said. that speaks volumes rather than what is said. And from what Cody said from that, what I gather from it is I think he could see the problems coming from the fact that there was wrestlers and friends that were EVPs.
Yeah.
And he's looked at it and gone, these guys are my friends. I don't want to ruin these friendships. I feel like that's probably part of it as well. He's gone, I'm going to get out of this because if I don't, I can see what's coming.
Yeah.
And good on him for doing it. He's doing well so far. Just finished that story.
Yeah.
But I guess...
let's shit on AEW a bit more just quickly.
Yeah. Are you going to talk about the poster?
I'll leave the poster for you.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm going to talk about the whole fact that for the last, 6-8 months, there was all this build. Is CM Punk coming back? Is CM Punk coming back? And then they finally signed CM Punk and he comes back and they create a Collision TV show on a Saturday night just for CM Punk because you can't work with the Bucks. So let's build an entire television show on a separate roster on a separate night with the whole production crew and everything just for CM Punk.
Yep.
And then
you fire him on the eve of Collision in Chicago, which also had then the pay-per-view All Out in Chicago as well. What great timing.
Horrible timing. But
what a business move, man.
So on to, I mentioned the poster. I think this is the thing that shows me how AEW is not well run. So literally hours after they've announced that CM Punk's fired, they released the poster for Collision, and CM Punk is still front and center.
He's right there on the poster.
Oh, I'll put it up, shall I?
Yeah.
Right there. Like, how can they not go,
I just want
maybe we need to change this? Oh, thanks, mate. It's minimal editing. Minimal. So for me, that just shows how poorly they're run. The fact that still came out. We just mentioned before we were watching a highlight package of All Out.
Yeah.
And obviously noticing the fact that the 4 stars are a big part of the logo still there.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm going to admit I haven't even watched All Out.
No,
I didn't want to watch it.
I watched the highlights, that's it.
And I don't want to crap on what people like to watch. Like, if you love watching AEW and that's your thing, love it. That's great. 100%. Go for it. Love it. It's just not for me. Like, I'm just not enjoying it. There are aspects I enjoy. There are matches I've seen that I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
But as a whole, like, trying to watch it as a show...
Yeah, trying to watch it consistently.
I can't do it.
It's hard.
I mean, we've complained about it plenty of times, and I think I'm really trying to watch Dynamite. I'm really trying to stick to it. We watched All In last week because it was on KO in Australia, so it was free for us to watch. As soon as I had to pay $50 for All Out, no thanks, I'll watch some YouTube videos on it.
And hot take, Rampage and Dynamite actually are on KO every week as well. So if you don't know that, if you've got a KO subscription, you already have access.
Collision is not.
No.
You beauty.
Which, CM Punk's not there anyway, so why do you want to watch Collision?
But we've talked about how they've got some really good matches and stuff, but the one thing we've always said about AEW is that they, especially with the Young Bucks, they don't sell. I remember trying to watch... I think it was the Orange Cassidy match against John Moxley, maybe, or somebody else in the Dynamite the week before. They had to hit each other with 4 finishing moves in a row. It was Orange Cassidy and
Penta.
It
was the night after.
Canadian Destroyers
in a row on the hardest part of the ring as well.
But a Canadian Destroyer should finish the match.
Yep.
And then we heard because we saw the highlights in All Out when Luchasaurus hit 3 tombstones on Darby Allin.
And then clotheslined him.
And then clotheslined him to finish.
And the clothesline was the finish.
Yeah, not the tombstones. Not the 3 tombstones.
Why do you need to undersell moves so badly? Yeah. Why do we have a part where we watch a pay-per-view and we make fun of the Young Bucks because we count how many super kicks there are?
But I guess that's my thing, right? Is that I almost look at it and go, and again, I don't really want to shit on it because, more wrestling the better for everybody, really.
Yes.
Yeah. But go watch gymnastics. Everything you're watching, just go watch the gymnastics at the Olympics, man.
It's not the same.
They sell just as much as the Young Bucks do.
It's not the same, Ted.
Again, if you like watching AEW, I'm sorry, it's your thing. Watch it, love it, but I struggle.
I'm sure there are people that are watching that think the way that we do about AEW, but they think about it with WWE.
They probably do.
Yeah,
they
so-
probably do. And, fair enough.
Each to their own.
But isn't it great that you have the option to watch
Yeah.
what you prefer? That is something I do appreciate.
Let's not forget about Impact either. We don't talk about Impact enough.
No,
No, let's forget about Impact.
Impact doesn't make much of an impact.
But we've
these
got
days.
Impact 1000.
But I guess
Until CM Punk shows up at Impact.
yeah,
don't
well,
care.
just to finish up on the CM Punk stuff.
And then we'll get into Payback.
Obviously, just like anything, any wrestler who quits, leaves, gets fired from a show, there's obviously always immediately speculation that they may turn up at another show or somewhere else. What do we think in regards to that? Do you
It's not
really think
happening.
there's a
It's not
possibility?
As good as that poster looks, for those of you who don't know, it's CM Punk facing off against Roman Reigns at Survivor Series, which is in Chicago. As good as that looks, as much money as that would make, it's not happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
I just think it's a shame if they weren't to jump on it, right? Because I get it. Okay, there's and you can't hide the fact that trouble has followed Punk. That's one thing I've got to point out, right? I've tried to defend him a little bit, but you can't deny that where there's trouble, CM Punk is not far away. So he's obviously not an easy person to deal with. But now that you've got John Cena on SmackDown right now, you imagine
7
him
weeks
out there doing one of his goofy promos and CM Punk's music hits. The crowd would go nuts. You imagine the amount of people that would click over to WWE. Like, if it was Vince still in charge, I'm telling you now, he would go, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because he would just want that eyes on the product.
Yeah.
Even if you only did it for like a couple of months, not even a long-term thing, it would get so
That's
much.
an interesting theory about, like, in regards to that. It would be Roman as the WWE champion versus CM Punk as the real world champion. And he'd bring the belt with him as well.
Would he do a...
And then he'd job to Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns would hold up both titles.
Do you reckon he'd come in and do like a Medusa and drop the belt into the bin?
Put it in a
Do it
dumpster,
in a
light a dumpster on
Oh,
fire.
full on dumpster.
But we love
Dumpster
that
match.
belt. We drafted it. It's a great belt.
It is a great belt, but like, what more statement do you want?
Yeah. The other thing too, in terms of talking about if Punk goes somewhere else, is the idea of a no complete clause and stuff. The thing with CM Punk, and like if you do some research and stuff on it, he actually had 2 contracts with AEW.
Yeah.
A wrestler and just a normal employee contract.
Oh, so
and
is he just fired as both?
He's been fired for both, but because he was fired with cause, in general, a no complete clause won't impact that. So Dave Meltzer has said that although from a WWE perspective they fire you with cause, it's normally a 12-month period. That 12-month period would not stand up in court if you went anywhere, right? Because a judge would not say you've been fired and then you're not allowed to then be re-employed because you've been fired.
Yes, of course.
So the normal...
Well, it voids any contract, right?
Correct.
And the non-compete would be in a contract, which is now
just been voided, and he hasn't been paid for, so it's not like he's been paid out or anything where they're allowed to set that non-complete period.
Yeah.
So realistically, I think, and read the dirt sheets and stuff that are much smarter than us on this, there's nothing technically stopping CM Punk showing up on SmackDown this week. Technically.
In India.
I don't think it's
not in India.
Sure, when is it? When are they in
That's a
India?
separate show.
Superstar
Oh, I'm
spectacle
so
is in
confused, man.
India. It's also this
What a
week.
mud show.
Getting ahead of yourself. But yeah, there's nothing saying that Triple H can't just ring him and be like, hey, come show up and face on.
Can I just stop you on one more thing? I don't want to hear any more quotes from Dave Meltzer because he gave the Stadium Stampede match 4.5 stars. So he's lost his goddamn mind. What is wrong with you, Dave Meltzer? Kurt Angle never had a 5-star match. Shut up! Anyway, that's my rant.
I mean, you did the one thing that he brought up the Stadium Stampede again. Simon Miller from What Culture, how he was a
The
security
legend.
guard.
We love you, Simon.
Ups and downs. He's fantastic.
Give us an up, actually. Can you give us a show an up if you ever see it, Simon? Please?
Please.
Give us an up.
I'll send it to him on Twitter.
Yeah, you
awesome.
posted to him. He was in the Stadium Stampede thing. He was in the... What do they call it?
He was a
Skybox or whatever, where Edwards and stuff was... And Castellanelli smashed a glass on it.
Yeah, he was there.
He was in the Skybox.
legend.
Yeah.
Because I know he was in
Security detail.
he was in security detail in like the 0 hour or whatever.
Yeah,
it was.
for Miro
and he actually got thrown into Barry Barricade.
He did. The 100th time.
The 100th time. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a legend, Simon. All right, well look, let's put the CM Punk thing to rest for now. I mean, one last thing I will say. I think one of the things that shows the inorganization at the company is that they couldn't keep all that under wraps during their most historic pay-per-view of the company. You would think that a company who's organized would go, hey, let's just keep this backstage and sort it out so it doesn't overshadow the fact that we broke records.
They almost didn't have the Samoa Joe CM Punk match.
But that's one thing I don't get, actually. I know you said I'm going to move on. One last thing. When he came out, did he look like he'd had a punch-up?
No, because he didn't. He just headlocked a guy and hit a bloke.
His shirt was fine. His hair was fine.
He's got no hair.
And he was, like, super chilled. I don't know. It just didn't seem like someone who'd had a near altercation. Anyway, let's actually put that to bed for now. I'm sure there's going to be way more that comes out. I actually really do hope that he does turn up somewhere else, because I'll probably go watch wherever he turns up.
Yeah, not gonna
see what happens.
I marked out when he
Royal
came
Rumble
back to AEW, so I'll probably mark out.
Royal Rumble entrant number 30.
He gets eyes on whatever product he's at, whether it's for good or bad.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got to talk about Payback. I've got to get it in there, man. Come on.
No,
that was my dad joke for Father's Day.
All right, I'll accept it.
Again. So we'll talk about Payback, WWE, obviously their last PLE, so we're going to change the abbreviation now.
No.
And we're going to go through and talk about each of the matches. Obviously, we normally would have talked about Raw and SmackDown, but so much has happened since, it's kind of hard to remember what happened.
So we're going to kind of touch on what happened on Raw and SmackDown as we're talking about the matches that happened at Payback. As
best we can. I think that's where I'm going to look to you, man, because you're the...
I just watched a top 10 of last week's Raw and SmackDown, so to refresh myself.
Don't give away our secrets.
Behind the curtain.
Everyone thinks we're just watching hours of wrestling.
Well, I do. And I watched Raw and SmackDown last week, but that was last week.
Last week.
So much has happened.
So much has happened.
2 pay-per-views. John Cena returned. CM Punk getting fired. Everything.
New raids dropping in Destiny.
And we will be talking about Raw at our next episode once we've seen SmackDown this week as well, because there's a lot to unwrap there too. So first match at Payback, we had Trish versus Becky in a steel cage. And obviously, we've previously talked about it. Just like the Canadian crowd, we didn't care. We were over it. Finish it already. I'm going to put it out there straight away before I get your thoughts on it. Contender for match of the year.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yep. I wouldn't say match of the year, but with how much we were shitting on the rest of the feud, that definitely blew it out of the park.
So
100%.
To me, this reminded me of what we were thinking with the AEW stuff with Jericho and Ospreay.
Yep.
It was like, this, we don't care. No one wants to see this match. They had one good promo, like, sick, we're in.
Yeah. Except we didn't get that with Trish.
We didn't get that promo with this.
Yeah.
No.
But we got on the Raw before, we got the Falls Count anywhere with Zoe Stark, which essentially turned into a 2-in-1 Becky Lynch versus both of them.
Yeah.
There was a mad table spot. There was a few different cool things that happened. And I was like, you know what? They can still work. Becky is going to go over, obviously.
Yeah.
I really want to see how they finish this in a cage.
Yeah.
And then they pulled out 15 to 20 minutes of a really good cage match.
Yeah. And what I loved is they really went for a traditional match where they started really slow and then built up. Because at first we were looking at it going, are they going to use the steel cage? They're in there. Are they going to incorporate it? Or is this just going to become an unused prop? And once they got to that point where it hit that plateau and then just, I mean, where she hung from the ring, Trish, where she got her legs caught.
Crazy.
Dude, that is respect. Like, that is, if that goes wrong, you're dead, man.
You look at the welts on Trish's forehead after Becky was smashing her face into the cage.
Yeah.
That's...
It's so hard.
She's nearly 50, dude.
Yeah.
It's so hard to think that she didn't wrestle for 15 years.
Yeah. But you know what?
And she's been
exactly. And you know what? I think, and this has obviously come out since, and a few people have said this online, I think she's done that on purpose, because obviously when you look back at Trish's career, obviously she was very big during that Attitude Era, and I'm sure most of you have seen it, can remember some of the horrible things that the women were made to do during that time. I mean, Trish herself, right, made to bark like a dog with Vince McMahon, you know, bra and panty matches. This was her coming out and showing people, hey, I can effing wrestle.
Yep.
And I could always do this, and this is my chance to show it. And obviously there was a couple of homages as well to the first ever steel cage match.
Big notes. Yeah. I think the fact that Trish managed to pull out the Widow's Peak, Victoria's finishing move, and then Becky whips out the Twist of Fate. Yeah. I was blanking on that for a second. Forgive me.
Yeah. No, I thought
that was good. Leader, like, throwing those in.
And they were the first two women in a steel cage match.
Yeah, like that was real class.
Yep.
And I feel like Victoria's one of those women that have always just like
Underrated.
100%.
Underrated. And she was one of those ones that, because it was during that time, if she was wrestling now...
She didn't fit the mold back then, but she was a good wrestler.
Dude, if she was wrestling now, she would crap all over Charlotte Flair.
Well, you're going to draft women wrestlers? Because I need to take some notes.
Oh, don't give him any more. Don't give him any more hints.
Spoiler
Victoria.
on the upcoming draft.
How did you feel about the finish with Zoe Stark? Do you think it was the right finish to try and finally break Trish and Zoe apart?
There was no circumstance where I thought Zoe Stark's not going to get involved. So it was expected. It was fine. Like, I don't think it really harmed the finish. But
I think that the quick turn at the end, I guess, if you want to call it a turn, is a bit...
Do we really care that Zoe turned on Trish after the match?
Not really.
No.
And I don't really think Zoe
really.
turned. I think that just proved that Trish is still a bitch.
Yeah.
They didn't really do much with it. She just threw her shirt down. I think all it's doing is saying Zoe and Trish are now not
That
together.
storyline is done.
We're good. We're finished.
Yeah.
All right. But the characters are still the same.
Yeah.
And if and when we talk about Raw, we'll see the way that Zoe progresses.
Yeah.
They're going to stay with what they are.
And I'm pretty certain when we do our draft for greatest female wrestlers of all time, I would have assumed that Trish was probably going to be on that list somewhere anyway. But that match, I think, has really
Elevated
her so much more, man. Like, so much respect. Like, as you said before, the welt on her face, the bruises all over her arms. Like, she went gung ho in that match, man. It was fantastic, and they incorporated the steel cage perfectly. But yeah, for me, I'm going to stick with it. Like, I still think when we do our wrap up at the end of the year, when we pick our matches of the year, I'm telling you now, that's going to be one of my picks so far. Unless there's a lot that comes out between now and New Year, but I loved it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
So you prefer a women's cage match than a strap match with Bryan Danielson?
Yes.
Just wanted to make sure that was recorded and put on the internet.
Yeah, that's fine. What's wrong with that, man?
I think I like you said, we all have different things we like watching.
Okay. Well, the next match. Well, actually, we should mention the fact that our host came out after the first match.
Which was silly.
No, I think it made sense, though, because the first match was so serious, and obviously John does a very comedic...
Yeah, I feel like it was a good opener to not have him start the show.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's what hosts traditionally do, but
yeah,
the fact that they just got into it, and then that was the opening match, I'm happy with that.
And then, obviously, led into Miz coming out for his match against LA Knight. John announces himself as the special guest referee.
Fantastic move.
Yes.
I feel that putting John in that position was excellent story writing to get rid of the match 2 curse of the card, where people usually don't give a shit about the second match, and it's usually fairly bland. Because usually matches that open the show are always like blood pumping, adrenaline jumping, and like it's hard to follow, but I don't feel like they had a tough time following that, especially with John Cena in the mix.
I also liked the drawback that you get from Miz with Cena. The amount of history that they've had, obviously, WrestleMania and stuff together. Him calling Cena a Teletubby is still incredibly accurate. That definitely added to it. I don't think that you needed to put Cena into the match between The Miz and LA Knight for it to be good. I think The Miz and LA Knight had a good enough feud, and they had a blood feud. Like, they were yelling at each other. They were really cutting each other hard with some of their promos.
And let's look at what Miz did on the Raw last week. Coming out
as him. Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was so good.
Fantastic. Excellent way to lead into this match.
Yeah, you know what? I think he's another underrated wrestler.
Oh,
I really do. He's been around for so long, and he has such good entertainment value outside of the wrestling zone.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, underappreciated. Or unappreciated.
Almost the same.
But I mean, like, The Miz, how he previously did The Rock, and he did Cena,
does it so well.
and he did LA Knight. It's so well done. I didn't think this match needed Cena, but I agree with your point that it did increase what there was.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad that Cena didn't do some of the traditional tropes, I guess, of special guest referees, where they do shitty slow counts or different things, and they bring him into the storyline.
John Cena we're talking.
He's the greatest of all time. He was pretty straight down the line. He caught Miz's foot on the rope a few times and things like that. So like he didn't influence the match as much as he could have.
Yeah,
and I think that was probably what was needed.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was an okay match. Yeah, I mean, I think it could have been better, but yeah. I obviously got a little bit excited at the end when LA's leaving and John Cena
Mate,
faces off with him and goes to shake his hand. And
I don't want that to be just a rub. I want that to be a feud.
I think it's going to be a match. I think that's what they were getting at, is that it could be a face versus face match.
Like when they faced off in the ring and you got that like shot of just them.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, book it in. That's funny.
I think definitely that would be quite popular choice.
Yeah.
And then I mean we might skip ahead a little bit because then obviously we're still talking about John later on in the show. They have the backstage segment where he's become the interviewer. You and me already talked about the fact we love the fact that he took on Miz's recommendations and had the jacket, so he dressed up over the top of his Teletubby outfit. You know what? It sort of reminded me a little bit of Kurt Angle with the goofy comedy side of it.
And like doing the classic backstage announcer thing and doing the leg spread to make
Finn look tall.
Finn look big. Like that's an achievement.
Yeah. I thought it was good fun. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch it. Let us know what you think. But I thought it was actually really good fun, and I appreciate the fact that John Cena's in a position where he's happy to take the piss out of himself a little bit, because it's not going to hurt his career. I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time. So anything that he does comedic-wise, I don't think is going to have any sort of effect on his legacy. So. And then the next match, I think you guys know what's coming.
I got 2 notes for this, ladies and gentlemen.
This was Ray defending the US Championship against Austin Theory, 1-on-1.
And the crowd goes mild.
The crowd goes very mild.
There was not a lot of chanting in this match at all.
No.
I was too distracted by the gigantic Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh, yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Cinnamon Toast
What
Crunch.
was that, man?
It's a sponsored match. It was like the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match.
How can you degrade the US title anymore, man? It's already dragged through the mud.
They used Mountain Dew to degrade Bray Wyatt and LA
but
Knight.
they didn't have as much advertising as that. That was like Bootio's entrance with the Cinnamon Toast. Like it was... But Bootio's is cool. No, I don't know who Cinnamon Toast are. I don't think we have it here in Australia.
Bootio's!
We do.
They make sure
We do have Cinnamon Toast.
you ain't booting.
Child eats it.
Okay. Well, anyway. Well, we apologise to the makers of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
No, we don't.
No, we don't at all.
No, we don't.
Stop ruining wrestling.
Anyway, yeah.
I guess they got to get their money from somewhere, but that really did overshadow what was not a fantastic match anyway, because that's all I could see was that horrendous colour in the background. And I'm going to be honest with you, I can't really remember much from
It's
the
an
match.
accurate representation of the match. It was very bland and annoying.
Well, it was quick too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ray
10 minutes.
won.
That leads me to my second note. Freaking roll-ups, man.
Oh.
Shitty way to finish the match.
The only good roll-up's a fruit roll-up, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm reading some comments and stuff on it.
Yep.
This was a very good TV match that should have been on SmackDown.
Yes.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Considering the matches we've seen since on Raw, which we're not going to talk about, I think I know which one deserved to be on a pay-per-view. But anyway, there's reasons.
But the Hall of Fame is a champion. We have to put him on the card.
Sorry, the other point I wanted to bring up from this, and this is something, again, that I am starting to really get annoyed with, coming out in PWO shirts, because they were in Pittsburgh. I don't know if you noticed that. LWO were in PWO shirts.
Have you guys not clicked onto the fact they make WO shirts for almost every city that they go to?
Cheap pop, man. Like, stop it. Just stop.
Mate, that's marketing. That's money. People buy it. It's stupid, but people buy it.
Man, it's just ridiculous. Hurry up.
It actually says Pittsburgh World Order on it. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
This is Americans we're talking about.
Yep, it was not...
But let's be real. If they had a Australia World Order shirt, we'd buy it.
No, I wouldn't.
Come on,
I wouldn't do it.
Because the shirt would
I would
say,
just get NWO. I would just get an NWO.
Just whacking Ric Flair sticker on the front of it as
A
well.
woo! Woo! Okay, I'll get it for
Moving
just
up. Next match.
as long as it has boo at the end of it, then I'll get it. Yeah, so as you can see, again, I really hope that puts an end to that feud and they hurry up and get Santos to turn on Ray, because I'm sick to death. Austin's been
Yeah, but they're not doing that anytime soon because he picks it up on his shoulders.
Yeah, we need to have Santos turn on Ray and cost Ray the title, because I don't want Santos to get the title.
Yeah.
We need someone else.
No, you know
Santos
what? No,
is
Santos with the title, because what is more annoying to Americans than a Latino who has the US title and hates the US?
Let's make it
Dude,
to
that is
American
heat.
Championship.
That is heat. Or change the colour.
Change the color.
That would get so much heat. Do a Will Ospreay.
Ospreay.
Okay, so next match. This was my other Favorite match?
Favorite match of the night. This is going to be a contender for me for match of the year. I enjoyed it that much.
The Pittsburgh street fight. And I'm going to put it straight out there. I feel like this was a stab from WWE and AEW on how to do a proper Stadium Stampede street fight match. Because it was paced perfectly.
Yep.
You saw all the spots you were supposed to see. And you didn't get any skewers in the head.
The camera work was great.
Yeah, it was.
Especially the part where we all, like... I saw this was happening when they went into the crowd and then they focused on the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
And you couldn't see Sammy and Kevin. And I was like,
Because they were set.
they're going to be behind you. They're going to do something, aren't they? And it was perfectly done in the camera because the shot, it wasn't obvious that they were doing it.
Yeah.
But like you could see they were just focusing on Finn and that talking and stuff. And then as soon as they panned and you're like, oh, there they are.
Yeah.
Good spot. I liked it.
And that for me was better just wearing the Pittsburgh Penguins jerseys, not a PWO shirt.
Yeah.
Like,
and then having
there's
the
a bit of a
hockey
difference,
sticks and going high. It was great.
Look, it was still a bit of a cheap pop, but better than
absolutely.
PWO. But what did you? I know you loved this match. This was your favourite match. So
I've got lots of notes on this.
what was your favourite spot from?
Before we touch on that, the one thing I'm just going to say, and for all the WWE crowd, they did this in a couple of different times. Stop chanting for tables.
Oh.
Start of every freaking hardcore match.
Yeah.
You're going to get them. Stop it.
Yeah. Just
It's
stop.
annoying.
It's annoying. It's annoying that it happens straight away.
It's not like a hardcore match or anything.
We want tables.
People still chant for tables. Like,
We want
get
tables.
over it. Just
I want ladders, man.
embrace it when it comes.
Stop sign. Where's all the other cool shit that used to be under
Yeah,
the ring?
yeah.
At least this time we've got trash cans and stuff.
When was the
which is
last time we
nice.
saw a good fire extinguisher to the face?
Oh, it's a guy, yes. No
Haven't
stop
seen that for a
signs, no
while.
fire extinguishers.
Anyway,
I'm just
back
going
to the Pittsburgh street fight.
Sorry.
I'm going to give a quick rundown of some of my favourite spots through that match. KO stomping a mud hole in the ring. I feel like he did it 10 times faster and more aggressive than Steve Austin would. I love that spot.
Okay.
I love the fact that he's Austin's favourite wrestler. And that they have such a good relationship.
Yeah.
I love it.
Sami Zayn doing the Blue Thunder Bomb on the chairs.
Yeah.
Which got kicked out of course.
And him not selling the fact that he just planted his ass on wonky chairs.
Yep.
He's a pro.
We got the Falcon Arrow on the chairs from Damien Priest. Senton off the...
Oh, the spot under Dom? That was crazy.
onto the
dude,
table.
And he nearly missed too.
Yeah.
Like he only just
Crazy.
caught the table with Tom on it. Oh.
And then we got Rhea Ripley with the barricade spear.
Through Barry Barricade.
Through Barry Barricade.
Do you think that they're leading to, because that's twice now that Rhea has hurt KO, and I think
She
KO's going
needs-
to go off screen for a while. Do you think they're
She
going to
needs-
play with an intergender match
They need to do it.
between Rhea and KO? Because she seems to keep attacking him specifically. Would you want to see that?
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see Rhea.
You want to be the one that she has an intergender match against. That's what you want.
I'm sorry, Buddy Matthews.
You're not. Sorry, not sorry. He loves Mummy. Mummy's always on top.
Yeah. I think that is something they could tease.
Yep.
And I like the way that they've played, like we said this on the SmackDown or the Raw and stuff beforehand, how Rhea had said specifically, if Judgment Day don't leave Payback with all the gold, something will have to change. And that was her saying it.
She's in charge.
She's very subtly starting to put herself forward as that she is the leader of Judgment Day.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic.
Brilliant. And it's not like they're doing it in
I think it was naturally her as a leader anyway. I think a lot of people saw that anyway, even before she made those comments.
Well, once Edge had left and it was gone to Finn and Damien and that, they never really took that lead. I think they sort of went to here and Rhea just kind of just kept on going past them.
Yeah, definitely.
Have to admit, I was actually very shocked by the result. I didn't see them winning, but
I was
now
hoping
it
they
makes
would,
sense.
but
Yeah.
I just expected KO and Sammy to retain.
Yeah.
But the fact that JD won that match,
Yeah.
like Judgment Day,
But,
to be clear.
this is a good way to continue that story because we've had them almost break up. They've been fighting.
Yeah.
This brings them together again.
Yep.
You're stretching the story without stretching it, I guess.
Absolutely loved the finish to the match with Dom coming in, hitting Sammy with the briefcase, and then the slow roll over from Finn.
Yeah.
Just really like icing on the cake for that match.
We haven't touched on KO's. We touched on the Pittsburgh jerseys. KO's Terry Funk shirt.
Yeah.
Great
yeah.
touch. One thing, though, that I do want to criticise around the booking was what I said before, how Rhea said if we don't all leave Judgment Day with belts and with championships, something's going to change. her championship matches after this.
Mm.
So it's kind of a foregone conclusion that
Nobody saw
which we all-
Raquel winning anyway.
Yeah.
But
we'll get to that match.
if the decision was around the Judgment Day winning this tag match and getting the extra belts,
It should be
that
later,
was point- that should have been after Rhea.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be an event. Rhea has to go first, keep her title, and be like, I've done my job. Now it's your turn.
Yeah.
That would have been good writing.
Mixed it the wrong way around.
Yeah. I have a feeling that this may have happened because of KO. I actually don't think he's 100%. I think he might actually still be injured. And they're taking advantage of they're taking advantage of this to, help him rest up a bit and do some sort of comeback.
Because he was doing that, and then he's come back for the last few weeks. He's now dropped the title, so I feel like it's time he can go away for a bit, rest up.
And then once we talk about what happened on Raw on our next episode, it's very exciting to talk about what's going to happen next. But obviously, you touched on the fact. I mean, did you say that you think this might be match of the year?
It'll be one of my top.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
JD
it'll be in there.
him too.
Yeah, JD. I was a little bit uncertain about him getting involved to start with, and now I'm starting to see where they're going with it. It's starting to make sense. Yeah.
And you look at the Raw leading up to the match as well. JD helped Damian Priest win his match, but Priest turned on him. Let KO and Sammy have at him. So
you've already touched on it.
Good story building there.
Next match was Rhea defending her championship against.
You're missing a segment.
Which segment?
Grayson Waller effect.
Oh, right.
We got to give this podcast the Grayson Waller run.
Oh, of course. Like every other show. Miz
From
TV,
Sydney,
The Snake
Australia.
Pit,
Yeah.
Barbershop.
But let's be real. This was as annoying as it is sometimes that he's not wrestling as often as he should because he's a great talent. Him having these talk shows is fantastic. With the one with Cody Rhodes, I expected more from it. I thought they would build to a match or something between those two. But
I think there's a big storyline here.
There's a big story coming. But the fact that Cody just came out to basically say, hey, this is the new member of the Raw roster.
The important thing here is that he said, I had to pull some strings and I've done some things and now this person's come to Raw.
Yeah.
Jey Uso.
I wonder who's going to SmackDown.
I think it's just me, Us.
Don't go further in that story because you're jumping onto our next episode already. So let's just ease back a bit. Cody announced that here's the new member. Out came Jay with his new music.
Main event Jey Uso.
Yeah, super kicked Grayson. Yeah. It was a cool set. Jay's really over. He's super over.
Well,
the crowd loves.
Not going to touch on it too much, but when I was watching Raw yesterday, like this week's Raw, I was there at the desk when I was working, just doing this.
And your boss was like,
no, I was at home. It's fine.
You forgot you had your camera on. Your boss was like,
no, I wasn't in
I wish.
Yeah, I'm popping for it. I'm happy that Jay's there. It's something new.
Can you imagine?
I love his new music.
Can you imagine how cool it is being Cody Rhodes and getting a pay-per-view paycheck to just turn up in a suit and go on the Grayson Waller effect for 5 minutes and not wrestle?
Yeah.
Legend. What a paycheck.
I mean, the crowd still got to pop for his song.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
That's all they care about is woeing.
I did love the fact that Grayson Waller got in the foreground of the camera when he did the whoa. Yeah. He's a good heel. He's a good heel. I'm still getting used to seeing hearing the Aussie accents on there though. Even though we ourselves are Aussie, it's weird
so
hearing it on
prevalent when
American
you watch
TV
shows like that.
Yeah.
And then Rhea comes along and speaks, and then Grayson Waller speaks.
What the bloody hell? What am I doing? I already have the accent. I already have the accent. Why am I putting that Tommy accent? We'll cut that out later. You bloody go over here. I'll get you.
You won't put in that much effort to cut it
No,
out.
I won't at all. I won't at all. I'm just going to upload this video. I'm not even going to bother. So then the next match after
then we
that,
got
Rhea versus Raquel.
Yeah.
And
Can I just ask you guys a question?
yeah,
Did you guys realise that Raquel has a back?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like a proper one.
Can I?
She really does.
So she has a good
Is that why
back,
they wrote that song, Baby Got Back?
Can I? Am I the only person? Is her back really that muscly?
It's
The point I'm making is
I don't think it is anymore. Like back in NXT, here's the thing about that I've noticed. Like when I was watching NXT heavily, the routine that the superstars are able to develop down there, they can get ripped. Once they come up to the main roster and go on the road, they lose the ability to maintain. how
because I have
shredded
to
they-
travel and do media.
Exactly.
And,
Then do all the shitty fast food and all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah.
Back in NXT, it used to be a lot more defined.
I think Raquel's back is fine. I think it's a good bit, but it annoys me that she walks out on the ramp, does it, then gets into the ring, does it, and then when Rhea walked in, she did it, and then when they announced that, she did. Come on, man! Like it was like 6 times before the match even started.
A little bit too much, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up, because I every time she comes in, I look at it and go, is it like? Surely having bigger biceps is more impressive than just flexing your back.
She does the bicep flex after, and it's
Just do the bicep flex.
but the back is the better option for her.
Anyway, I think this is my point. We're talking about her back because I'm going to be honest, the match itself was
pretty
kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
It was a bit too slowly paced.
It was very methodical, I felt.
Yeah. And I know
Actually, no, that's a word I'll use later, but yeah, it was very...
And I know you
slow.
mentioned this before because they had an awesome feud on NXT, which I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen most of.
That culminated in a fantastic, no DQ.
It was a no DQ falls count anyway, something,
I
wasn't
think it was full count.
I feel like this match was really missing a story and a build-up. And I know they've had some things where it's like, oh, Raquel's facing off with her.
I feel like it needs
emotion in it. There's no, it's just, I'm going to beat you for the belt and I'm strong.
There's so much potential. Oh, she was trying to do it for Liv, okay?
Yeah, but that wasn't really. Again, she's
not
like
much
it was said once. Like it wasn't really. There's no main point to their story. It seems a bit convoluted. I mean, obviously there was a couple of spots that just didn't work out. Which, I mean, I think they can still have a good match. They're both very good wrestlers, and I'm sure they'll. Their next match they have, I'm sure they'll probably. Tear the house down. But can I just say, I'm probably jumping ahead a little bit, but I actually have a bit of an idea as to how you could actually make this feud work really well.
Okay. Gives Raquel some personality.
Give her a bit of music.
A little bit, maybe, but actually it's to do with Dom Dom. Have a reverse love interest, because it's always been about 2 blokes and 1 woman, hasn't it?
So you want Raquel to start hitting on Dom?
No, not at all. I actually want Dom to start having a thing for Raquel. Because you still keep Raquel as the face. She's not making a move on Dom, but Dom starts, because they're both Latino. She speaks his language. Who's his real mummy? I reckon you could make a really cool story from it. I'm just saying.
I'm so proud of you, Vince McMahon. I'm really proud.
Oh, don't, man. What? That is so much better than any crap Vince would come up with.
He came up with an incest storyline.
Exactly.
Like,
you're putting me on that
I
level.
think what Ted is saying is that WrestleMania 40 is Rhea versus Raquel with a Dom on a pole match.
Dude, a contract for who owns Dominic Mysterio? Round 2.
And then Rey Mysterio runs in and they both
Raquel and Rhea. Oh, dude. You can't tell me that people would love that. It would steal the show at WrestleMania. It would have to be the main event.
Come back to this podcast
But
in
like,
6 months'
You
time.
heard it here first.
have it finished the same way as the Eddie and Ray match did, where Dom comes in and tries to shake the ladder but can't do it.
Or can
Even though he's 20 years older.
better? Can we do instead of Buff Bagwell's mum on a pole? Can we have Dominic Mysterio on a pole match? You
But
gotta
like
get
with
up
the
and
pole
get
up
down.
him.
Oh, he'd love that. He'd love that.
Oh, wow.
So anyway, look, I think
Employ us. Come on.
there's potential for greatness between them two, but they're not there yet. It will get there. It wasn't a fantastic match. It was probably best where it was on the card, because if it was any earlier or any later, I think it would have really stood out.
But it also sucks because, like, you look at cards, generally the second last match is the toilet break match.
Yeah.
Which happened to be a women's match.
Which this wasn't supposed to be, I don't think. It definitely wasn't meant to be that.
I don't think it hit the mark that it could have.
I appreciate Rhea. I think Rhea is... the problem with Rhea, right, is that everybody loves Mummy. And we all kind of want to cheer her, but we know we can't because she's a heel in Judgment Day.
Yeah.
And when she came out dressed like China with all the rings...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good homage there.
Which was cool.
Great homage. Everybody wants to see her win. We want to see her destroy people. And I think that match type works when you're going against someone like a Liv Morgan or someone small, where it's like the match with Zelina.
Yeah.
And things like that, where you're like, oh, she's going to destroy them. But then when they hit a couple of moves, you're like, oh, this is
they might. Yep.
With Raquel, it was size versus size, and they tried that storyline of this is the first person who can actually stand up to Rhea.
Where was the meat on meat slapping?
Woman meat on woman meat. But I think it's mainly because we just didn't care for Raquel enough.
I don't even know what to say, man. Look, all I'm going to say is I feel like if they did that, it's a little bit unfair on Mummy as compared to Raquel. Because, I mean,
I feel like it should have been more high.
if we're slapping chests here, I think I know who's going to come off in more pain, and it ain't going to be Raquel. I'm sorry, look, I'm not. What? It's because of her costume, because it's covering her chest. It's fully covering. It's nothing to do with size. It's nothing to do with size, I swear. I wasn't looking at Mummy's boobs. Look, the match was
I'm just going to hide my face because I'm crying.
Oh, dude. I'm sorry. How about we get on to the main event and we'll move on before I can put my foot in it anymore. The main event for the World Heavyweight Championship, Seth freaking Rollins against Shinsuke Nakamura. This was the bad back at Payback match. I think you mentioned it before off air that you were a big fan of the entrance video.
Yeah,
Shinsuke. It was actually quite cool.
Don't do that a lot. We need to see more of that sort of
Yeah, I like it.
I do like how they're letting him go full, like, doing his promos in Japanese and everything else. Like, I think that's really cool.
Just let him be his element.
Let him feel
Some
comfortable.
titles up. It's better. It's better than...
Now.
No offense to him, but
Yeah.
English is his second language.
Clearly.
Yeah. Just let him speak in his native tongue. Put some subtitles up. Get an interpreter to be his manager.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you could look at doing something like that. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of cool having it where you don't know what he's saying because it adds to the mystique of it.
And then you have your partner look up a translation of what was said.
Google Translate
Yeah.
in the ring. Just Seth using Google Translate.
Just as long as we don't do like the whole Don Callis thing on AEW.
Oh, don't do
jumps
that.
between
Callous.
Japanese wrestlers.
For me, that's kind of where the awesomeness ended.
Yeah.
I don't think the match was that great. Again, which is kind of crappy because they're both really good wrestlers that usually can tell a good story.
It was a good match, but I feel like there was, like we touched on it offline, there was too much focus on the bad back stuff because that's all Shinsuke did through the whole match. It was just that slow, methodical dissection of
I did like the little rub of the back and the smiling into the camera. I thought that was
great.
kind of cool.
I thought that was great.
Yeah. But I think the problem with that story, it was a good story to have because, you know, you've got like it's the main catalyst of everything. But if you're going to do that, as if Damien wouldn't cash in, I think that's what made this whole thing not make sense. If his back is that bad and Shinsuke really beat the crap out of him, as if, I know they played it off, they went and celebrated.
Yeah, that's going to say.
Now you're just making Damien look like an idiot because he went and celebrated before watching the match. You know, like,
especially like when you have an off-air segment where Shinsuke attacks Seth after the match.
Yeah.
The crowd was chanting for Damien to cash in. And what an excellent way to have a cash in off-air. Like, and then you find out about it and it's like,
Oh, they'll
my God. But wouldn't it have also just been cool even if he hadn't have cashed in but his music had a hit and he just came out and stood at the top of the ramp and just stared?
And just the fear of death
and didn't cash in? Like, that still for me would have been better than just not appearing at all.
Yeah.
You know, just the threat of, I know about your bad. I mean, I guess they're trying not to take away from Shinsuke's feud with him, but...
And, like, that's the thing about
it just makes it seem
match.
silly.
Like, Shinsuke dominated this match.
Yeah.
I
thought he was going to win.
I'm a Seth Rollins fan, but I was firmly behind Nakamura for this match.
Yeah.
He's always the bridesmaid, never the bride, man. He's
felt
never,
like
he's never
it
won it.
was such a soft finish. Like, you have Shinsuke dominate the match. Seth does a couple of Falcon Arrows, dodges out of a move, hits a stomp, and then wins. After he's gone through so much. I feel like it was just like rushed and a soft finish. I wasn't a fan of it.
I also wasn't a fan of the fact that this is the first main event that Shinsuke Nakamura
They said that on the commentary.
Yes.
Where was he on the card against AJ at WrestleMania?
Not in the
Was that like in the middle of the card or something? Because, I mean, when I remember that, I assumed that was one of the main events of the match. But
No, that was like
obviously my
mid-card.
memory's
It was
tricky.
like second or third match.
Dude, that is a travesty that he's never main
Apart from the
evented.
Royal Rumble,
Yeah,
which he won.
yeah.
Which you
But
wouldn't
he's never
necessarily
won a
count
world
that.
title at WWE, so...
Correct.
Still hasn't.
I felt like that's when they should have pulled the trigger for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
would
they're
have
worried about
liked to
having
see
two
that.
heel champions. I think that's what they're worried about.
Yeah, but you don't have a champion on SmackDown. He's not there.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's not even there. We'll get to that.
And
later.
like he's like a John Cena type heel. He's a heel, but everyone cheers him something.
Maybe
not that sort of level,
John
but like-
Cena. Controversial.
Well, look, I think if we sum it up, two very obvious matches of the night that took the whole thing was Trish versus Becky and the Pittsburgh Street Fight, I think were very obviously the two best matches of the night.
And I get that they tried to make it a shorter run time, I guess. It was only 3 hours. It was only 6 matches.
They tried not to go overtime.
They tried to not
which is why
overdo
they
it.
cut Gunther.
And I think a lot of it, like you said, this was a direct shot at AEW. Like, hey, you just had 4.5 hours with 11 matches on it. Here's 3 hours of 6 matches.
How to pace it, man, and make people watch
Here's
the whole thing.
Women's championship match towards the top of the card with good wrestling in it. Here's a proper street fight and how you do it.
2 women's matches.
2 women's matches on the
2,
card.
not just 1.
Yeah.
2.
I think they like it was definitely a, to
This is how you do it. We're going to show you how it's done.
But I still think this was probably the worst PLE of the year for WWE.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I wouldn't like.
Not that it was bad.
In this, yeah, I get what you mean. Like in the sense of it's the worst, but it itself wasn't a horrible pay per view.
Correct.
Yeah. Compared to everything else we've had so far, I mean, it's going to be very hard to outdo Backlash. Just gonna say, that's my. If we do best pay per views of the year,
Spoilers, mate.
hot take.
Spoilers.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, I think definitely I agree with you. I think it's been the weakest so far. But in saying that, I still found it enjoyable. I watched it from start to finish. Didn't feel like it went too long. Obviously, some of the matches, as we said, were not fantastic, but it was still watchable. So, overall, I'd probably give it a 6.8.
Oh, I'd say 7, 7.5.
Okay.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Out of 10,
Seven-
what would you give it?
7.5.
7? Okay, we're around the same then. Cool. All right. That was us talking about Payback.
Yep.
We covered everything about CM Punk and back by popular demand.
Here we go, Ted.
It is time for
Here we go.
Wrestler or Daytime Soap,
All right.
as requested in our YouTube comments. So,
So I'm the defending champion because I...
yes, you are, and I didn't bring the trophy. I promised to bring the trophy,
You did.
and I didn't bring it.
You disappoint me.
If our lovely producer could go and check the pouch behind the driver's seat of a certain car while we do this competition.
Wow, so subtle. Top quality. Look at us.
We,
that's
I hope she knows the one I'm talking about. Anyway, we'll figure it out. So yeah, I think you can get the gist, just like last time, but slightly different.
3 rounds?
There's going to be 3 comments,
Okay.
and obviously, again, we're going to announce at the end which ones are wrestlers and which ones are from a daytime soap.
Okay. All right.
So
Get in the zone. Ready?
need to get in the zone. Get ready for this.
I 100% think I'm going to lose again.
Oh, jeez. Okay. So, and obviously, again, we're going to do it so you can't guess. The tension is killing me. I'm laughing before I even read these. I'm sorry. It's I'm going to keep professional here. All right. So the first one we've got. 24 hours ago, you were trying to blackmail me. You can't take that personally.
Is that it?
That's it.
Oh.
Okay.
I should point out that the first... Let me do that again. The first one is person A. Person A.
Oh, so it was
24 hours ago, you were trying to blackmail me. Person B. You can't take that personally.
Oh, man. Okay. All right.
That's the first one. Can we just stop on that question? This is how good our production is. This is what you're defending. Champion. Is this coveted wrestler or trophy?
Fantastic. All right.
Is anything written on it?
I don't know.
It's just a trophy.
We-
Put it in front of the title.
We're gonna put it.
Put it in front of the title.
Nah, it's going to be...
That's not it. That's not to scale.
So we get it in the camera shot. Hang on. It's got to go there-ish.
Right there.
It's not going to sit. Is it? Let's put it down.
No, he's determined now.
He's determined. We're playing for the coveted wrestler or trophy. So that was the first one. Have we had a bit of a guess as to what we think it may be?
We
Wrestler
didn't
or
guess.
wrestler?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Have that in your mind. Well, we will cover
makes
them
sense.
over again. We will cover them over again.
Do we get bonus points if we can guess which daytime soap it's from?
If you want, if you really want to do that,
Oh,
sure.
are you saying
Go
that
for
that's a hint for the first one, are you? I reckon he's trying to throw a curveball.
Next comment. I came here tonight to look you in the eye. You killed my son, bastard!
Oh, that's... Yeah.
Okay.
And bonus points if you can tell me
What daytime soap?
What daytime soap? Or if you think it was a wrestler, who was it that said it? I mean, that's going to be hard, but anyway. And now the third one, third and final.
Surely IRS hasn't written a promo about that yet.
Are you ready? Damien and I don't forget. We remember all the times you made people grovel for your money.
All right, I'll quietly say, Ted, that I much preferred wrestler or politician.
Because you found it easier.
Not so much
That's
easier.
not the point of this. Are you worried you're about to lose the coveted trophy, Mr. Danielson?
That's not what I mean. But
Okay.
You know what? I can't think of any wrestler that has said anything of those three.
yeah,
So these are all guesses.
All right, well, we're going to go through them again. And they'll come up on the screen somewhere as I read
Are
them.
we going to answer as we go? Or
Well, yeah, I'm going to read them, and then I need you guys to tell me your answers.
okay.
So the first one, which we will read again, was 24 hours ago. This person one. 24 hours ago, you were trying to blackmail me. Person two, you can't take that personally. What did we have?
I'm going with wrestler on that.
Wrestler?
I wrote wrestler, but now I want to change it to daytime soap. But I'm going to stick with my first choice and say it was a wrestler.
Well, you're both wrong.
Yeah, it was daytime soap.
It's from Days of Our Lives.
Oh, that means my second one's not from Days of Our Lives. Shit.
It was a daytime soap. There you go. We're not off to a good start here.
Guesses might be.
Naught. All right, number two. I came here tonight to look you in the eye. You killed my son, bastard. Well, you gave your answer first last time, so I think Daniel should.
I did daytime soap and Days of Our Lives, which is now not
Okay,
right.
and what was?
I went daytime soap as well. There's no way a wrestler said that.
Oh,
They did.
you guys are gonna kick yourselves like Snitsky kicked the baby, because that was Lita to Snitsky.
Oh,
wow.
It was the wrestler.
Let's go to Donut City.
But Donut City. What's
it
gonna
wasn't his
happen?
fault.
Oh, actually, I might have a tiebreaker. I got an extra one that I
Ted,
can read. We're gonna
it
tie.
wasn't his fault, okay?
It wasn't his fault. Okay, we're on to the last one.
Oh, man.
Last one.
He's going terribly.
Which, to remind you at home, Damien and I, don't forget, we remember all the times you made people grovel for your money. What do we have?
I went daytime soap.
Daytime soap?
Yeah, I said daytime soap, but I said the Golden Girls.
I think you guys have forgotten who Damien was.
Damien Priest.
Jake the Snake Roberts. Do you remember what the name of his snake was?
No.
Damien the Python. That was Jake the Snake to Mr. DiBiase, the $1 Million Man.
I don't like this game.
We're 0-0. We've done it. Does that mean I win?
Do you remember what someone at work told you last week?
What? No.
Oh,
Do you remember what a wrestler said to another wrestler 35 freaking years ago?
don't. Hey,
No,
mate,
Ted, I do not know the answer to that.
the great person who put that in the comments, you're awesome. I love you. I
love-
think this means I win.
I love the premise of this, but can you pick quotes that are Jake the Snake Roberts before I was born?
Come on, bro.
Can we do some more modern
Yes.
catchphrases that actually might give us a chance
You know
to
what?
guess
We're going to
correctly?
go with what our viewers want to see. This is what they wanted to see, and they got it.
That's fine, but like picking 30-year-old quotes.
All
right, here we go.
We're going to go for a tiebreaker. We're going to go for a tiebreaker.
Oh, shit. All right.
All right. We don't need...
Hold up. How old is this quote?
I can't tell you that because it would give it away.
All right, go. Come on.
Oh, jeez. You
Continue.
boys, I tell you. We don't need to avoid the pregnant elephant in the room. I know everything.
Which one do you want?
Wrestler.
I'll take daytime soap.
And the answer is...
I think it's
Daytime soap. It was also from Days of Our Lives. Said by some lady named Maggie. So, congratulations, Mr. Daniel Danielson.
retained.
You have retained the Wrestler Or trophy, the coveted Wrestler Or
This
trophy.
is the most hollow victory I'll ever have in my career. Thank you so much, Ted. I appreciate it. To everybody, especially those who suggested the game show.
I think I need to do a visit to IKEA and buy a wooden spoon for Rowdy.
That's all right.
Rodriguez.
I can have the stand.
The stand. The coveted stand that the trophy sits on. Guys, please put in the comments what you'd like to see next. We've had Wrestler or Politician, Wrestler or Daytime Soap. What do you think we should do next to really piss these boys off? Like to see it in the comments. Thank you so much for joining us.
Wrestler or
Yeah.
sports entertainer.
Around the pool table of relevancy in Madison Square Garage. Mr. Daniel Danielson, Mr. Rowdy, Roddy Reece, I'm Booker Ted, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Thank you.